Hello, friends. Welcome to Time Out with Noelle Janae, a podcast about Christianity and other life topics. I'm your host, Noelle, and thank you so much for timing out with me. Here's what you can expect from today's podcast. If you want to start a garden, I feel like it's never too late because especially at like Lowe's or Home Depot, a bunch of the plants they have are marked down already and are already producing fruit.
Yes.
What is up, guys? So today we have a very special and exciting episode because I have my mom.
Yeah, wait, I need to clap too.
So, Mom, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Noelle's mom. My name is Glennis Varlack Allgood, and I live in Nashville with my beautiful, well-accomplished, small business owning daughter.
Please, go on.
Please continue, right? We have a lovely home here in Nashville.
She kind of cute.
And we enjoy life together. How's that?
Yes.
Good.
Beautiful. So, today we're going to talk about all things plants, gardening, Mom's obsession with buying plants. It is very bad.
I'm providing background.
So my background with plants was a few years ago, I acquired a succulent. I forgot. No.
I purchased a succulent.
No. We have to go back further. I got a tomato plant.
Yes. when we first moved here, we've been here almost 10 years.
Yes.
Noelle was probably 9 or 10, and we bought her a tomato plant and put it in a pot.
It's a Bradley tomato
tomato plant by the door. Neither one of us having much knowledge at all of plants and gardening. And she went out there with her little pink watering can, which I still have. And we threw it away just this week. We threw it away just this week.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, because it was leaking. And she would go out there with her little watering can and she would water it and she would talk to it. It was a Bradley tomato and his name was Bradley. So
not because of the kind of tomato it was,
but because that's her brother's name.
That's my brother's name, which I am now convinced that he's named after the tomato plant.
I don't think so.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So that was our first gardening, our first gardening experience. Really, now I had plants when I was younger. I had a variegated pothos, which is one of those plants, house plants a lot of people have. Has the kind of beautiful deep green leaf with the white through it, and it grows as a long vine and comes down the side. A lot of people have them hanging in macrame holders. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And I had that plant, and let me tell you, it thrived. I had it in the right environment, gave it the right amount of water, and I was like, okay, I must be good at this. So that's where my love of plants really began, and I have always dreamed of having a garden of my own.
Yeah.
And I love having plants around the house. I've been doing that for years, but because of health issues over the past 5 or 6 years, I haven't been able to get out and weed like I want to and tend to the roses and the flowers around the yard. But by God's grace, this year I am much, much better.
She really is. This is like, if y'all knew her story, which maybe we'll do a podcast episode and I'll ask you questions or whatever. But like, this is the most energy this woman has had in
5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years.
Truly. And it's sustainable, continuous energy.
Oh, we love sustainability.
Yeah. It's green energy. So... Anyway, so I've been able to go out and pull weeds. I've been able to
go out
maintain,
and buy plants.
I've spent a lot of money on plants. I really enjoy gardening. I'm the only one in my family at this point who does gardening.
Yeah.
Actually.
So we had Bradley the tomato, and then I got a succulent.
And you fell in love with
I fell in love with succulents. And then, how long did it last?
Just a couple of months.
Like, a good 2 months, and then it died. killed
She overwatered it.
Yeah, I killed my succulents.
Succulents don't require water, but maybe once every week or two.
Yeah.
And just a little bit at that time.
Yeah, I had to miss the sister squad yesterday.
Yeah, they only need a little bit of water because, succulents are designed for poor soil and very, very dry conditions.
Yes. Okay, so now, flash forward, that was like a few years ago, to now. So we have a whole gardening setup now.
Yep.
So Mom's friend bought her as a gift a couple of gardening beds and came down and helped her put them in the house. Well, not in the house, but outside of the house.
Yep.
And then so what plants do we have in the garden bed?
Okay, so I have 2 raised garden beds, and they are 4x6. I think they're each 4x6. Maybe, yeah, they're either 3x6 or 4x6. And we have Bradley tomatoes, haha. We have San Marzano, which is a variety of the Roma tomatoes. We have yellow squash. We have zucchini squash. We have watermelon vines. And we have green beans. And then in another part of the yard, that's what's in the actual gardening beds. Then I've also planted in those beds marigolds and Gara, because Gara is very tall and these are flowers that help with pollination. They attract bees. Also great for that are cone flowers. They're very good bee attractors. So that your vegetables get pollinated, because if your flowers are not pollinated, your vegetables will turn yellow and are unusable and inedible. So we've done that. And then in a different part of the yard, I have a little corner garden bed that has flowers. It has hot peppers. It has bell peppers. It has Noelle's lettuce, green beans, and probably coming up some more bell peppers.
Bell peppers.
And then we have Noelle has a strawberry plant.
Yes.
Yeah, we have all kinds of things. And I learned doing the gardening beds that overcrowding is a problem. So as we've been doing this process, I've been removing plants from the beds, moving them to pots, and they are still thriving if you do it correctly. Transplanting, you can transplant in summer if you do it correctly. And I've been adding more flowers and giving more space to my vegetables so they can grow. And we have had a really nice harvest of green beans, some yellow squash, lots of zucchini, and a lot of lettuce. And we've had quite a nice harvest of bell peppers. But the tomatoes are just starting to ripen.
They're finally starting to ripen?
That one I told you was ripening?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the San Marzano tomatoes are really good for pasta sauces and salsas. Bradley tomatoes were really just growing because Mom and I don't like tomatoes that are fresh, but those are mainly for
we don't like raw tomatoes.
Yeah, for my grandmother.
For your grandmother, but we can also use those. We'll mix the San Marzanos and the Bradleys for making tomato sauce.
Yeah.
So, and because I'm doing a particular type of diet, I'm doing keto, we're trying to eat as fresh as possible. I made a delicious turkey minestrone the other day, and I used zucchini, yellow squash, green pepper, and from our outside gardens, and from our herb gardens, I used basil and Italian parsley in that minestrone, and a little bit of our oregano. So it was really delicious. But the goal of gardening is to have a sustainable way to make food, to have food for your family. The day and time that we're living in, to me, is a little bit scary. Everything is very expensive, and because of this virus situation the world is in, not just the United States, but the whole world is in, there are shortages on food production because people haven't been able to go to factories to work. People haven't been able to go to farms to work. People haven't been able to work their crops and all that sort of thing. So there's a loss of food all the way around. And I thought it was necessary, as I believe is biblically, time is running short based on the signs that we're seeing. And I believe that we're going to all need to have a way to have food in our homes. We have already reaped a harvest that would rival what I would normally purchase in a grocery store in price.
Oh, most definitely.
for much less, because these will keep producing and producing and producing and producing. So I think we need to have a way of making food on our own. And we're coming to the point that if families don't have gardens, they're going to be eating everything out of cans, and that's not always good.
Yeah.
And it's not sustainable. So we want something that will continue to give for years and years.
And especially thinking about, how the plants come back up. My strawberry plant, I've had that strawberry plant
for several years.
For a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't very well versed in the planting world, and I thought it was dead and just gone completely. Well, this year it came back, and I've gotten a few strawberries. They're kind of small, but now they're getting bigger because I accidentally made the mistake of planting it too shallow in the pot, so I've been adding soil every couple of weeks as it grows up.
We need to do that today, by the way. I bought a new bag of soil. We've been very careful in making sure that our soil was rich and good, and at some point, I would really like to start composting.
Oh, I've always wanted to compost.
Composting is really critical and important. So, like when Noelle eats an apple, the core of the apple goes in the compost bin. When I have strawberries and I cut off the tops of those go in the compost bin. You can put coffee grounds in the compost bin.
Banana peels.
Yes, scraps of banana and things like that in the compost bin. And that creates a very rich soil enhancer so that you're not having to buy enhanced soil or soil enhancers, and it's organic and better. When I did my gardening beds, I used a load of topsoil in the bottom, and then I did a load of organic raised bed gardening soil so that everything that comes out of our garden is organic.
Yes.
There's no chemicals used in it, none of that. Other things about the garden, I'm just going to throw a few tips out there. In the morning, you water the garden early before the sun comes up. No, your leaves will not burn. That leaf burn thing is false. You don't water in the evening, and I learned that recently. And you don't water in the evening because the water sits in the plant beds all night, and it creates fungus. I know this because I went out to my gardening beds and I found mushrooms, little toadstools all over the place, which I had to pull. And those can also go in a compost bin.
Yes.
But so what I've done today, instead of watering them this morning, I'm allowing those beds, the top, to dry out and kill those fungus. And then when it rains, it's supposed to rain this afternoon. Hopefully that'll be enough to water.
We never know in Tennessee.
Yeah, it could be raining 5 minutes from now and it says sunny all day.
Oh,
so,
that happened yesterday.
That happened yesterday. I really love gardening. Other tips about the garden, make sure that you have flowers in your garden beds.
Yes.
In or around your garden beds, because the pollination is necessary for the vegetables to thrive and for your plants to produce. So I have learned that lesson well this time. I have marigolds in my beds and I have gaura in my bed. Gaura is a tall, very thin, kind of pink, flowered, wispy-looking plant, but it gets tall enough to go above squash, yellow squash, and all squash plants are huge. So a little tiny,
really?
And they're very tall too. So you want to have a plant that will rise above that. Now, the squash plants have very large flowers,
right?
But if they're hidden beneath the leaves, they still won't get pollinated. So what I've done is I've moved this gaura over there so that it can reach above, and that will be able to attract bees, which will then go to those orange and yellow squash flowers.
So, besides the garden beds, Mom has so at our house we have a front and then kind of a front little doorway area, and then we have a side patio, and on the side of the side patio, Mom has
a rose bush. My knockout rose?
Yes, and then you have another plant, I forgot what, a peony?
Peony, yeah.
Yes. And then on the side of the house, there's Mom put a trellis. Well, I kind of really spray painted it black, and then Mom did some brick.
You did some of the work.
Okay. I'm trying to...
I did a tropical paradise planting, and it's not a bird of paradise, that plant. What I did was I went and purchased some inexpensive bricks, 48 cents a brick, and I purchased 30 of them, and we killed the weeds.
Okay, she did.
Yeah. We killed the weeds underneath where I wanted to put this planting, because the side of the house is just an expanse of brick with very few windows in this particular spot, so there's no interest there. And I wanted something that reminds me of home. I'm from the Virgin Islands. So, I know, I love it too. So I took those bricks and I sort of leveled out the ground, removed the dirt and the weeds as best I could, leveled out the ground as best I could, put down weed control fabric, which allows water to pass through, but it doesn't allow weeds to grow up through. And then I added the bricks on top, and then I put sand in between so that there's something in between the bricks to kind of hold them together. I haven't edged it yet. I need to do that. Then in a very large pot, it's turquoise, I planted a bougainvillea and 3 marigolds. So I have this gorgeous bougainvillea, and I put a trellis behind it that I've had for 12 years.
Oh my God.
It was so rusty, so we painted it black. And then I hung a garden ornament that I've had for 10 years, maybe 11. And I used a metal hook that I had made from a clothes hanger and hung it on there. And now my bougainvillea is climbing up the trellis. Also, next to that pot is your white strawberry pot.
Yes.
And then in front of that, I have a small pot that has some fuchsia and white petunias in it.
Yes.
And then on the trellis itself, I hung a basket that I've had for probably 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
And I have lantana and begonias planted in it. So I'm getting all of this beautiful pollination for Noelle strawberries because of all the flowers around.
Yes.
But it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it is gorgeous. But it gives me a place to have something tropical that reminds me of home. Lantana reminds me of home, but that bougainvillea is starting to climb.
Okay, so is it bougainvillea or bougainvillea?
It depends on who you talk to. In the islands where I come from is bougainvillea.
Okay.
But for me, here in the U.S. is bougainvillea. So It just depends.
It is time to move on to probably my favorite part of this conversation. I'm going to talk about my house plants. I love my plants.
My grand plants.
Yes, Mom's grand plants. So this whole thing started with the trip to Thrive Garden Center.
Oh my goodness, that place! It's in Pegram, Tennessee. It's on Highway 70, right?
Yeah, about 45 to an hour.
No, it's not that far away.
Really?
No, it's only 30 minutes to a car care center where we get our car done.
30 minutes
from Nashville. 35 minutes
from Nashville. From
Nashville.
They opened a year or two ago, and it's a local business run by this guy named Mike, and he is so cool, and he is so passionate about plants, and I loved it. And when we were there, because we had just come from Montgomery Bell, and we were driving, and we saw it, and we were like, okay, we have to stop
there. Because it had a little camper.
Yes, it had a little camper, and it was so cute. And so while we were there, we got the best cookies in the world.
Lemon, basil, pistachio. Oh my gosh, you guys.
They were so good. You should just go for the cookies.
Yes, you should.
But while we were there, I saw this thing called a ZZ plant, and I fell in love. And so Mom got it for me. And I named it Harold. And Harold is doing great. He's currently upstairs in a little shady spot in my room.
Now Harold is a plant that will get large. He will get big. But it's an indoor plant.
Yes. And they love the shade, and Harold is thriving currently.
In his corner.
In his little corner. And then that kind of started my obsession with plants, because I hate the outdoors. I cannot stand. I am a city girl. I love being.
She loves buildings.
I love air conditioning.
And buildings. I love to be outside, so she didn't get that from me.
Yeah. I'm very introverted.
Of course, I do love cities, too. I'm very diverse. Yeah. I'm very culturally diverse.
Wow, we love to see it. And so this kind of started, like, my love for gardening. Of course, watching YouTube videos about homesteading, too, kind of...
Yeah.
Ignited, fueled the fire. And so after that, I got another succulent called Min Holly, named after one of my favorite dogs ever. And then I got Jeffrey. He is a jade plant. And then I got Carl. And then Mom she went to Kroger and there was like a little...
Like a succulent family
thing. And so I named it the Sister Squad.
It's tiny.
But
it's cute.
And then, let's see, we have Harold, Min Holly, Jeffrey, Carl, Sister Squad.
Then the ones.
And then I got another big succulent.
Uh-huh.
And I named it the Kitty Girls. Which, probably gonna rename it.
Is it out here?
No, it's upstairs.
Okay.
And then I have 2 fake succulents, which I named Limu and Doug from the Liberty Mutual commercials. Because I love Limu the emu. And that's my plant family. My indoor plant family. Which 3 of my plants are outside, but I'm going to bring them in sometime today.
Yeah, the grand plants.
So, I think that's about it for this episode. Mom, how did you like it?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I'd be happy to do another one. We should do one on cooking and baking.
Yes. So look out for that in the future.
And redecorating your home.
Yes, on a budget.
Without spending any money.
Yes, because that's a big project we've been doing. Mom redid her room, and I'm just finishing up redoing my room. And so
And all we've really spent money on was we bought her a new rug for $25.
Yep.
We bought a bench for your room for $25. And then we bought a bench for my room for $25. And those were built by friends who are starting a business. So we got probably $150 benches for $25.
Yep.
So, but yeah, there are always ways to do things. But we just swapped furniture, and we're both very happy with the way our home is turning out.
Yes.
So maybe soon we'll do an episode about the home and an episode about cooking and baking and all the things.
Yes.
Because we just love doing all the things. For the record, what I do for work, I'm a music and administrative pastor, and I'm a graphics designer and web designer. So I do and personal ministry and all kinds of things. The Lord has just blessed me with a lot of different things that I get to do. And one of my greatest gifts is helping Noelle with her website, noellejanae.com. So if you order something from noellejanae.com, which was recently rebranded, you're welcome, then I'm most likely the one that's going to ship it out to you.
Yeah.
So, but I appreciate everything you guys have done to support Noelle's podcast and to support her very empty bank account.
Okay, I like shopping. So, in my opinion, if you want to start a garden, I feel like it's never too late, because especially at like Lowe's or Home Depot, a bunch of the plants they have are marked down already and are already producing fruit.
Yes.
So if you want to start a garden, just go buy a giant pot, get a couple of plants that you think are starting to produce and have
Make sure you have good soil.
Good soil.
And follow the directions. Every plant has a little card with it. And follow the directions on how to plant it and what kind of watering and how much sun you need. Follow those directions and you will have producers.
Yes. And Google. So that's about it for Welcome back to Songs of the BiWeek. Songs of the BiWeek is a segment on this podcast where I give you guys a couple of song recommendations, and these songs have either impacted me for the past couple of weeks, or I'm expecting them, or I just love them so much that I'm gonna just keep listening for the next couple of weeks. The songs of the BiWeek this week are More and More from Twice and Hear the Roar from Judy Jacobs. More and More was a song that I listened to and I didn't really like it that much, and then I kept listening to it and I ended up falling in love with it. I love it so much. It's a bop and a half, and I just love Twice so much. They're one of my favorite K-pop girl groups, and I really think it's a good introduction to K-pop, honestly, because it's like a fun dance song and I just love it so much. And then Hear the Roar is a song that literally came out like 2 days ago. And I love Judy Jacobs, and I love this song. And I just think this song is just so good. But I just love this song so much. The first time I heard it was actually my first semester, and campus choir did it. And now Judy has recorded it and released it. And it's just such, a timely song. And it's a bop. And I just love it. And I hope you guys like it. If you guys enjoyed the songs of the BiWeek, then I hope you guys will listen to them and you'll like them because I like them a lot. And if you guys have any more recommendations, just DM me on Twitter or Instagram, and you never know, they could end up in a future song of the BiWeek. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening in today. If you want to learn more about me, then go check out my blog at noelljanae.com and follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at TimeNoelPod, and DM me with things you guys want to hear about. I'm open to pretty much talking about anything. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening today, and I will talk to you guys in 2 weeks with an episode about modesty. Be blessed and highly flavored, friends. Bye!